Hello friends, welcome you all to my channel. This video is part of the playlist Python Basics Programming Beginner's Daily Dose, where I try to address concepts on basic Python programming that will help beginner level programmers to get an insight of how Python works behind the scenes. This is part 3 of the series of videos on sequence slicing. Please watch the first two part. If you have not watched it yet, it will give you a good idea about how sequence slicing works in Python. In this part 3, I will discuss more on the three parameters ijk that we use in sequence slicing. Before I get started, I will highly request all of you, if you are watching my videos, and if my videos are beneficial to you, then please support my channel by subscribing to my channel and like the videos and share them with your friends. And also, please do not forget to press the bell icon so that you will be notified by my future videos, as I upload videos on Python programming on regular basis. So let's get started with this video. Okay, so let's try to, so the sequence slicing, the syntax we have already discussed is x I colon j and k, where I is the mandatory parameters and j and k are optional parameters, and all of these parameters are integers. Now, few things to keep in mind regarding these three parameters I, j, and k. First of all, k cannot be zero. Uh, k uh, cannot be zero if k equals to 0 will imply it will throw a value error exception. K cannot be 0. Now, if k is positive, is a positive integer, if k is positive integer, then is k is positive integer and specified, that is the value of k is given and is specified, then uh, no, it may not be specified. If k is positive, okay, first thing, what is the default value of k? Default uh, default value of k is 1. So if you do not specify k, the default value is 1. Now, if k is positive, then default value of I equals to, that is, default value means if you do not specify I, then the default value will be uh, length of the sequence x. Also, default value of j will also be length of x. And if k is negative, then default value, if k is negative, then the default value of I and j will be uh, will be the end values. Now, in the Python documentation website, it's not clearly mentioned what actually the values will be. My guess is that if k is negative, if k is negative, then uh, if k is negative, then if you omit I, if I is omitted, if I is omitted, then its value will be length of x minus 1. So we'll have the index of the last element if I is omitted. And if j is omitted, if j is omitted and the k is some negative value given, then its value uh, will be minus 1. Remember that when with the sequence slicing, all the elements that are get selected, their index are calculated from the parameters ij and k, and and uh, the the index of those selected element will not be equal to j. So before j, it will stop selecting the elements in the input sequence. So these are the very basic things that you must keep in mind. And using this information, let's try to see how it works in the code, and let's try to use the sequence slicing to select some uh, standard section of an input sequence. So let's start the Python shell. Let's have I'm taking the example of uh, the input sequence that I mentioned in the thumbnail, 81734. 81734. So 81734. First of all, if you provide the value of k as 0, if I ignore the ijk, and if I give 0 as k, it will have value error. Slice step cannot be 0. Okay. Now let's see, if I omit the ijk parameters, and if I also omit the k, so the default value of k will be 1, and since k is positive, the default value of I, uh, if k is positive, the default value of I is length equals length x. Sorry, this is wrong, my mistake. This should be the default value of this should be 0 if k is positive. Okay, so in this case, the k is omitted, so default value will be 1, and since k is positive, the default value of I will be 0, and the default value of j will be length of x. So essentially all the elements will be selected, since the last element selected won't have the index value of j. Now if I specify minus 1 as the k, then in this case k is negative, and we will have default values of I and j. So if k is negative, the default value of I and j will be end values. So my guess is that I will have the value of length x minus 1, which is the index of the last element, and j will be minus 1. So the index of the selected elements will start from I, which is length x minus 1, which in this case is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. It will start on 4, and since k is minus 1, the next index will be 3, the next index will be 2, the next index will be 1, the next index will be 0, and then it will stop at minus 1. I mean, before minus 1. So essentially, this should select all the elements of the input sequence, but in a reverse order. Let's see. Okay, so we got 43718. Now, what if, okay, one thing I forgot to mention, if you specify a value of, if you specify the values of I and j, if uh, if k is positive, if k is positive, then the value of j, uh, uh, the value of I and j cannot be greater than the length of the input sequence. So if k is positive, the supplied value of I and j will get truncated to length of the input sequence. But if k is negative, then the supplied value of I and j will get truncated to 1 minus the length of the input sequence. So length minus 1. Now, what else can we check? Mm, okay. Now, let's see, using this the basic concepts of ij and k. Let's see, what if we want to select the first, let's say mm, let's say the first three elements. So obviously we have to provide k as 1, should be positive. We can omit the I value because it will start from 0, but it should end. We are selecting first three elements. So uh, the index of the third element is 2, so we can specify 3 because 3 will not be selected. So this should give 817. Okay, it gives 817. What if we want to select the last three elements? The last three elements, that is 734. So in that case, we have to specify the starting index I, which will be 012. We can omit the end, the j, because by default it will have a value of length of x, and we can also omit k, but because by default it will be 1. So this should give 734. If we would have given a value of k as 1, it would give the same thing. Now, I want uh, what if I want um, the last three elements but in reverse order? What if I want 437? So obviously I have to give k, the value of k should be minus 1. I can omit the I because by default it will have, if k is negative, by default I will have a value length x minus 1. So I can omit that. But now we want to select the index. If to start from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So it will start from 4, 3, and 2. We want to end at 2. So we can give 1. So the index 1 will not be selected. So it is starting from the index 4. Then it will get decremented by 1 because k is minus 1. So 4, 3, 2. It will not, 1 will not be selected because j is 1. J is not selected. The index of the selected elements goes up to j minus 1. So this should give 437. Okay, it gives 437. What if we want to select the first three elements of the input sequence in the reverse order? That is, what if we want 718? I don't know whether these selections are meaningful or not. I'm just trying to I'm just trying to play around with the ij and k and see how it works. So what if I want 718? 718. Okay. So definitely the k has to be minus 1. Now 718. So I have to give a start 0, 1, 2. Since the index of element 7 is 2, I will start from 2. And where will I end? If I don't give, if I omit the j, then since k is negative, it should have the value of the default value of j will be minus 1. So this should give 718. I'm not sure. Let's try. Okay, it gives 718. What else? Mm, some other things I've already explained in the part one of the video, part one of the series of this video. So, like if we want to select every alternate element, like first element, third element, and then fifth element, and so on. In that case, definitely k has to be one. K has to be one. Sorry, k has to be two, and we can omit the first, the I, because by default, if k is positive, it will have the value 0, and we can also omit the j, because by default, if k is positive, it will have the value of length of x. This should select the elements 8, 7, and 4. Let's see. Yeah, 8, 7, and 4. What if we want to select these alternate elements but in reverse order? So definitely k has to be minus 1, and if we omit the I, since k is minus 1, it will have the default value of index of the last element, that is 4, index of 4. Okay, what about, we can omit that. What about j? If we omit j, then as per my assumption, the default value of j will be minus 1. So fine. So, but not minus 1, sorry, k has to be minus 2, because we are selecting every alternate element from in the reverse order. So we are trying to select 4, 7, and 8. I'm not sure. Let's see what this gives. Okay, it gives 4, 7, 8. What else? Uh, Regarding slice, like these are so basically we all these codes are creating a slice. We are not modifying the input sequence. These, we are just selecting some elements from the input sequence, which is creating a slice. A slice is basically a new list. Mm, Regarding modifying the input sequence using slice, like slice equals to some iterable, you can check the video. You can check part 2 of the series of the video. Uh, okay, I think in part 2 I was stuck. I was stuck where I was trying to insert a few. I was trying to modify the input sequence using slice assignment of iterable, but I was trying to insert some elements from an iterable between two elements of an input sequence. Let's say in this example, I want to insert some elements between 1 and 7, between 1 and 7. So now what is the slice, what is the slice between 1 and 7? So the index of 1 is 0, 1. Okay, and what is end? Let's first try to see the slice. Mm, what is this slice? This is empty. So this gives an empty slice. We are starting from the index 1, that is the element 1, and we are ending at 1. So, mm, okay, now if I do something like this, if I insert some elements in this slice, so basically when you assign an iterable to a slice, the slice the obviously the number of elements of the iterable has to be same as the number of elements in the slice, and the slice has to be cannot be extended. The selected elements must be consecutive in the input sequence. Now if I insert, say I want to insert 20 and 30, 20 and 30 between 1 and 7. I'm not sure whether this will work or not. I'm guessing that the slice, empty slice, which is being created with x 1 colon 1 colon, this slice lies between 1 and 7. Let's see. No, it got inserted before 1. Actually, it should, we are trying to insert after 1. It got inserted before 1. Okay. What, let me remove, what can I do? I want to remove 20 and 30. I want to remove 20 and 30. Okay, fine, we can do that. 20 and 30 slice will be, I just want to remove 20 and 30 from the this modified list. So basically we can use slice assignment. The iterable will be empty, and we want to select the slice which is 20, which is the elements 20 and 30. So element 20 is index 1, and 30 is 0, 1, 2. We can specify 3. We can leave the k parameter, because k parameter by default is 1. Let me just check 20 and 30. Okay, fine. If I do this, 20 and 30 should get deleted. Let's see. Okay. So now I was trying to insert 20 and 30 after 1. When we did 1 colon 1 colon, it got inserted before 20. So I'm guessing it should be 2 and 2. Let's first check what is this slice is empty. Okay, now if I do 20 and 30, what is x? Yeah, so now 20 and 30 got inserted before, between 1 and 7. So if you want to insert a few elements from an iterable after a specific element in an input index, you can do that with a slice assignment. So again, in this modified list, let's say I want to insert some value, uh, let's say before 8. Let's say before 8. Before 8. Now, to insert, just now we saw that to insert 20 and 30 after 1, where the index of 1 is 1, we had to give 2, colon 2. Now, to insert few elements before an element, before a particular element in the input sequence, we have to use the I and j as the uh, index of the element before which we are trying to insert some elements. So if I want to insert now some numbers from an iterable before 8, it should be 0 colon 0, and we can leave the k parameter. Let's see what is this. This is empty. Okay, fine. So if I want to insert say 40 and 50, it should get inserted before 8. Let's see. Okay, it got inserted before 8. What if we want to insert some elements uh, mm, after the last element? After the last element. Please note that I'm trying to do a lot of things which are very very easy, with some other way of doing. I mean, essentially sequence has many other operations using which you can append elements from an iterator, or you can prepend. All those things are there. But I'm just trying, in this video, in this demonstration, I'm just trying to play around with the sequence slicing, what all I can do. So let's say if I want to insert some elements after the last element. So first I have to select that slice. So we saw that to insert some elements after some particular element, uh, we have to give I and j as the index of the element next to it. So the index of 4 is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We have to 9, choose, and 9, and keep the k. We can omit the k. This is empty slice. Now if I do some assignment, I want to add, let's say 60 and 70. After this should insert 60 and 70 after the last element. Let's see. Yeah, it did. Huh. What else? Yeah, I think this should give you a pretty good idea of what you can do with the sequence slicing and how it works. You can modify the input sequence with slice assignment. You can select some elements using the slice syntax. You will get a new list. Yeah, that's all. Yeah, I hope these three-part videos were helpful to you in understanding how sequence slicing works in Python. And if you have any question, any specific question, please feel free to let me know in the comment section. I will be glad to help you out if I can. So that's all for this video. Thanks for watching. Until the next video, take care and bye.